There was no money for me when I fixed that alien ship. The truth was told. Another being from another world showed me this truth about Jesus. It's the key to a story you've never heard. Don't worry about religion. Don't remember what you learned in Sunday school. There is a connection that has been kept secret, a piece that is missing from your life that will finally make sense. I must warn you, though, that this information costs something. It will illuminate some blind spots in your life, but it could also cast shadows over others. If you're ready to face what you've been told is the truth, click the bell and subscribe to the channel. Because what Frank Morrison saw in Montana was just the beginning of a journey. A revelation began, a truth that had been locked away for 2,000 years. Let me now tell you how it all began. Frank Morrison was in bed, listening to the storm, when there was a loud bang. It wasn't thunder. That was different. It felt like a heavy object had hit the ground with a lot of force. Frank had learned to ignore strange noises by the time he was 62, divorced, and living alone in a rural Montana area. Probably a tree falling, he believed. He was going to take care of it in the morning. He rolled over and finally fell asleep. The morning came, and the bright sunshine was a big change from the storm the night before. Frank got up, made himself some coffee, and then looked out the kitchen window to see what the damage was. He stopped altogether. In the field, there was something. It was something big and metal that was reflecting the sun in a strange way. When he took out his old binoculars, he muttered, "What in the world fell out there?" He could see it better through the lenses. It wasn't a plane wreck. There was nothing he knew about it. The shape wasn't right. It was too smooth and perfect. Frank put down the binoculars, put on his boots, and went outside. His heart was beating fast as he got closer. It smelled funny in the air. The building was about the size of a small trailer. It was curved and seamless, and it was made of metal that looked almost like liquid in the light. As he moved, the colors changed a little. It was being worked on by someone or something. Frank stopped 10 meters away, and his blood turned into ice. It looked like a person, but it was definitely not a person. They have grayish skin, longer limbs, and a bigger head. The thing was hunched over by an open panel on the ship and moving something that had a faint blue glow to it. Frank moved back. A dry branch broke off under his boot. The thing turned around right away. Big black eyes looked right at Frank. Human and alien. They stood still and stared at each other across 10 feet of Montana grass. Frank's whole body tensed up. He was stuck. He was having trouble breathing. He did nothing but stare into those strange eyes. Then the thing slowly raised one hand, palm facing forward. This is the sign that everyone uses to say, "I am not a threat." Frank was already on the run, though. He quickly ran back to the house as fast as his 62-year-old legs would allow. His heart was beating fast, and he was gasping for air. He locked the door and slammed it. He quickly rushed to the window and peered in. The thing hadn't followed. It was still stood by the ship and watched the house, not moving. Frank said in a whisper, "This isn't going to happen. This can't be happening." He reached for his phone. Who was he going to call? The police? What do you say? There's an alien in my field. Frank sat down in a kitchen chair and shook his hands very hard. He closed his eyes tight. He took a breath. After 10 minutes, he opened his eyes and looked out the window again. The thing was still there, but now it was gesturing, making a mark on the ship and then on the ground, a motion that can't be stopped. Frank knew right away that something was wrong. It was stuck. The ship is broken. Not a way out. "Not my problem," Frank told the empty house out loud. "It's definitely not my problem." He had to push himself to look away from the window. He made more coffee. He tried to act normally, but after an hour, he was back at the window looking out. The thing was now sitting next to the ship with its head bowed and a defeated look on its face. Frank felt something strange, even though he was scared and knew it was impossible. Too bad. He moaned, "Oh, for the love of..." "I am going to regret this." Frank reached up and took his gun off the wall. Maybe he wasn't going to use it, but he held it in his hand as he slowly left the house. He walked toward the thing and stopped 5 meters away, his rifle out in front of him, but not aimed. The thing raised its head. Those dark eyes were fixed on him. Then a voice, but it wasn't coming from the thing itself. It was coming from inside Frank's head. "I'm not going to hurt you." Frank was about to drop the gun. You're in my head. I'm sorry. It's the only way I can talk to you. The chords in my voice aren't like yours." Frank made his hold on the gun tighter. "Who are you? Where did you come from?" "Far. A long way away. I need to leave, but the ship is broken. I need help to fix it." The creature pointed to the panel that was open. Frank could see inside. Unbelievable technology. Lights that flicker, and disconnected wires or something like them. "You work as a mechanic. There are tools in your shed. You know how things work." "How do you know that?" Frank asked, still not putting down his gun. "I looked over your land before landing. I tried to land away from you, but the storm made it impossible. I crashed here by mistake." Frank kept quiet. He wanted to leave in part. "Please call the police. Do not help at all." The part that fixed broken engines for 40 years, on the other hand, saw a mechanical problem. It saw someone stuck. He finally asked, "Why should I help you?" The thing stopped. "Because I'm also a mechanic. From another world, but the same heart. Like you, I repair broken things. Now I'm broken, and by yourself, and scared." Frank could feel that tight feeling in his chest. He knew it. Being alone, being scared, and feeling like you're stuck. "And if I help you, will you leave and never come back?" "Yes. I will leave right away as soon as the ship is ready to go." Frank looked at the gun, the ship, and the thing that was moving. He chose to do something that would completely change his life. "Okay." He slowly put down the gun. "Let me see what I can do. But if you do something strange, I'm not going to. I promise." Frank looked around with worry. The property was separate, but not totally. "If anyone sees this..." His first move was to point to the ship. "My shed is big. We can bring this inside. No one will see. I have an old truck with a hook. I can pull your ship if it doesn't weigh a ton. It doesn't weigh as much as it looks. The stuff is different." Frank got back his old F-250 truck. He put it in place and hooked up the winch cable. He was shocked at how easily the ship moved. It seemed much lighter than its size. It took 20 minutes to bring the ship into the business. Frank shut the big gates. "There," Frank said as he wiped his forehead. "No one can see now. You also stay here. Don't go." "I get it. Thank you." Frank looked at the ship in the shed's light. The view was even better up close. "So," he said, still mentally processing how silly it was. "How do we start?" Frank Morrison had no idea that over the next 3 days, while fixing an impossible ship, he would learn truths about Jesus that would make him question everything he believed. As the creature began to explain telepathically, Frank Morrison begged to differ. He had the strangest 3 days of his life after that. The panic on the first day was mostly under control. Frank worked on the ship with his hands shaking because He was so aware of the alien being just feet away. "This here?" Frank pointed out a part. "Does this generate propulsion?" "Yes, but the crystal in the middle is broken. It needs to be fixed or replaced." He said in a dry tone, "I don't keep extra alien crystals in my workshop." "Can you make do with things from this world?" Frank looked over the part. "I could try. Epoxy resin with a high strength. It might work, but it won't look good." He also worked. Fear started to change into interest on the second day. "Where are you from?" Frank finally asked, while soldering a pair of wires together. "How far exactly?" "A group of stars you call Zeta Reticuli. Not far away. About 39 light years." Frank almost dropped the welder. 39 light years away. "How did you get here?" "A ship that can travel through space and time. When I travel, I don't go across distance. I go around it." Frank turned his head away. "That should be impossible. Physics is for everyone. Only if you know the right laws can you do that." Frank went back to making things after a short time. "That means you can go anywhere. Can you, go to heaven?" The thing tilted its head. "Heaven? Are you talking about a religious idea?" "Okay. Like the place where God is, where people go when they die. That heaven. I get it. I get the confusion." "Frank, no. Heaven as you picture it, a real place in the clouds, does not exist. It doesn't exist in that size or place." It felt like something was going to sink in for Frank. "That means there is no heaven. There is no God." "That wasn't what I said. I said there is no place in the world I can visit. But there is the source, which you call God. But not in the way that your religions tell you to. God is not an old man sitting on a throne being mean to you. God is a field of consciousness, the force that makes things happen. This source is everywhere at the same time, including inside you." Frank turned around and put down the welder. "Inside me?" He put his hand on his chest. "Yes. It's always been that way. Trouble is, they taught you to look for it outside, when you should have looked inside. But the Bible says, the Bible was written by people. There are some deep truths in it, but there are also some big lies, especially about who God is and what Jesus really taught." Frank's heart beat fast. "You know about Jesus?" "We know a lot about Jesus of Nazareth. We kept an eye on him. We paid attention to what he taught. We also saw how his teachings were changed after he died." You saw Jesus? The real Jesus?" "Yes. Just like now, 2,000 years ago, your species was in a very bad spot. So we paid close attention. I thought Jesus was interesting." "Interesting how?" "He knew something that most people still don't. He knew the rules of manifestation that apply to everyone, how feelings and thoughts make the world we live in. He tried to teach it." "Manifestation? Making things happen? How could you say that?" "Frank, you pray, right? You ask God for things." Frank felt open. "Yes, I pray every day. For many years. What do you want? Help me, well-being, to make things better. How things work. What comes next? Did God answer your prayers?" Frank laughed in a mean way. "Never. They are never replied to. Either God doesn't exist or doesn't care about me. Or you are praying wrong," he said. "Wrong? How could I pray wrong? I talk to God. I humbly ask for help. I want to give thanks. What's wrong with that?" "All of it. It doesn't work that way. That's not what Jesus taught. They wait and ask, but nothing opens up. They then believe that God has left them." Frank got angry all of a sudden. "Then open my eyes. How does it work? Finish fixing the ship and I'll show you. Not with words." You can't believe it. I am going to show you Jesus, the real one. Before they changed everything, he taught what he really taught. We have recordings made with holograms. I know what he really said. Then you'll know why your prayers didn't work. Frank was quiet as he considered sin. He finally said, "Okay, I finish your ship. Show me. Done deal." After 3 days, Frank soldered the last link. There it is. I believe it is now fixed. Please don't blow up my shed. It's not going to blow up. The energy seems to be flowing right. Dear Frank, you have a lot of talent. 40 years of work. Are you going to do what you said you would do? The thing went to the ship's panel. The air in the middle of the shed begged to bend, shine, and change shape. A picture was made, 3-dimensional, floating, and so real, Frank said he was sure he could touch it. It was a man. A plain tunic was what he wore. His hair was dark. There were people all around him. Frank could feel his lungs emptying. Is that him? Does that look like Jesus? Yes. A high-tech recording from 2,000 years ago. A certain time when he was explaining something very important. Something that the church buried. Frank walked up to the picture and asked, "What is he teaching?" About the real power you have. The power you've been using wrong your whole life. That's why your prayers didn't work. Frank was stunned and asked, "Is this real? Not a trick?" It's not a trick. It's a record. It can record sound, light, and even energy fields. Energy fields? Everything sends out an energetic frequency. Feelings, thoughts, and plans all leave a trace. It was Frank who said, "I don't hear anything." We didn't record sound, but we did listen. We know what he meant. The thing touched something else. Things changed. In it, Jesus touched someone who was obviously sick, and that person got up and was better. Frank got a chill. He healed people really well. Those were more than just stories. Right. Not the way you were taught, though. Look at his energy field and hers, the creature said, as it frozen the picture. The picture changed, a bright aura. Jesus was like gold that shone. The sick person had a weak, almost dull glow. What is that? The field of vital energy is what some people call an aura. Frank watched as things went on. The sick person appeared to be receiving Jesus's bright light, and her field began to glow as well. He didn't get better. He turned on the person's natural ability to heal. The number of them increased to the point where disease was no longer possible. But how? By having complete faith. His words, "Your faith has made you well," were not a figure of speech. It meant exactly that. Then Frank said, "That sounds like pseudoscience, like that positive thinking stuff that never works. Most people can't make it work because they do it wrong. I'm going to show you how you do it wrong for sure." The picture changed. Jesus by himself, on his knees. Look at how he prayed. It's not the way you pray. Frank looked. Jesus' eyes were closed, which showed that he was happy. With thanks, it wasn't an act of begging. In that way, they seemed sure of themselves. When Jesus prayed before he did miracles, he didn't ask. He thanked them as if they had already given it to him. Thank you before you get... That doesn't make sense. When you know how manifestation works, it all makes sense. The picture changed. It was Frank. Frank backed away. That's me. A simulation based on what I've seen. I'll show you what to do. The picture showed. Frank was on his knees next to his bed when he heard himself say, "Lord, please help me. I don't have enough cash. My health is not good. I feel so alone. Please, please help me." Frank's face hurt. You saw me? You got into my private space. I'm sorry, but you had to see. As you pray, look at your energy field. The picture changed. It was dark and grey around the holographic Frank. Every word of your prayer is full of the frequency of lack. I have no money. I am alone. My health is bad. You are decreeing exactly what you don't want. Help me, please. I'm being modest. No. Focusing on lack all the time will bring you more of it. Each thought is like a seed. Everything we feel is water. But it's true. You plant seeds of lack and water them with fear, and then you wonder why you get more lack. I don't have enough cash. How can I act like it's not true? I'm not telling you to act. I'm telling you to stop giving it power. Put an end to your sin. Put an end to decreeing it. The picture came back to Jesus. Look at the difference. He didn't say, "Father, we don't have enough food," when he prayed before multiplying the loaves. He told us, "Father, thank you for this abundance." It was like it was already there before it showed up. But the bread wasn't there yet. Yes, that. But he was working with the frequency of plenty. It had to change in order for reality to match his frequency, because it was so high and sure. Frank turned his head away. That's crazy. That's not how things work in real life. Yes, that's how it works. Every day you show it. There is no such thing as the law of attraction. It is a law that applies to everything, just like gravity. If it was that simple, everyone would be rich and healthy. It's not easy. It requires mental discipline all the time. It was in Jesus. Thoughts that are held at a low frequency show up slowly, but they do show up. They make the exact thing you don't want. This truth goes against everything we've been taught about how to connect with God. If this revelation about how we pray hits you deeply, and you've experienced the same frustration of prayers that seem to be hitting a wall, you can share your readiness by leaving a comment that says, "I am ready to awaken my inner power." Your affirmation is part of a group of people who are looking for the truth. Frank fell asleep on the workbench. So, you're telling me that I made my life this way? It's not bad luck. I made this happen. Yes. Because you've spent decades thinking about lack, fear, and worry, your reality is exactly what it is. I didn't know that. That wasn't taught to me. This is what Jesus tried to teach. But they changed it. It was they who turned his teachings of empowerment into a doctrine of dependence. Instead of accessing the power within you, they taught you to beg an external God. Then show me. Show me what he really taught. Something touched the panel. Jesus teaching. This moment was very important. Frank looked at. His finger went up to the sky and then down to his chest. The kingdom of God is within you. I and the Father are one. Yes, I know those verses, Frank said, but I always thought he was the Son of God. He then told his followers, "You are also children of God. You can do great things like what I do." He didn't say he was exclusive. He was asking people to join in. The scene changed to a fig tree. "I know that story," Frank said. "He cursed the fig tree and it withered." Yes. He then told us what it was. If you have faith and do not doubt, you will say to this mountain, "Be removed," and it will be done. It wasn't, "Ask God to move a mountain." But, "We're not God," he said. "You are parts of God." In the same way that a wave is not the ocean, but is made of it, you are just as creative. The creature stopped the picture. "Look, Frank, I'm going to show you something real. Are you ready?" "Prove how." Just a little test. You will manifest a small thing after I give you an object and show you a method that Jesus used. Right here, right now. The thing took out a small crystal about the size of a coin. It had a soft glow. Hold on. It helps you learn with a stronger intention. Frank took the rock. It was warm. Now, think of a small thing you want to bring into your life. A number, Frank thought. All right, the number 47. It was the lucky number for my ex-wife. It's been years since I saw it. Great. Right now. Do not ask to see the number. Just feel like you've seen it before. Feel thankful that you saw it. But I haven't seen it yet. What's wrong is that you work with the present reality. You have to act in the reality you want as if it were already true. This is exactly what Jesus did. Frank shut his eyes. It doesn't work. I look and feel silly. Since you are thinking, you need to feel. From the heart, mood is the fuel. Thought shows the way. You need both. Frank tried again, and he held on to that warm feeling. He thought about seeing 47, and he was thankful. It was like that for 2 minutes. He then opened his eyes. And now? Now go live your life. But be careful. You will see the number 47 in 24 hours. What if I don't see it? You'll. If you really felt it, good feelings plus a clear intention will always lead to manifestation. It's the law, just like gravity. Frank didn't believe it. But the next day, his car began to make an odd noise. Tire goes flat. Great, he moaned. He took the trunk open. Something old and worn out was stuck on the inside of the trunk lid. Number 47 of the vehicle inspections. Frank stopped moving. No, he said carefully. It's not possible. I think that was just a coincidence. Or was it? He went to the grocery store when he got to town. He picked up a magazine for no reason in the checkout line. It says, 47 ways to improve your life. Frank almost dropped it. All right. It happened twice, but it could still be a coincidence. After he paid for his groceries, the total was $47.50. The cashier told them, your new rewards number is 4700. Frank sat in his car and took deep breaths. He said in a whisper, 4 times in less than an hour? That's not possible. The thing was waiting for him when he got back. Did you see it? I saw it. 4 times. How is that possible? Because you made it happen. It was the first time in your life that you did it right. You had a lot of feelings. You had a clear goal. You didn't doubt. Real life responded. But those weren't big problems. Numbers. How about real money? Well-being? The idea is the same. It just needs more focus, more time. And you need to stop thinking negative thoughts all the time that are blocking your manifestation. What do you mean? It doesn't matter how long you practice if you think, I never have enough money. All day, you stop the manifestation because it never works out for me. Every bad thought is a command against what you want. So I have to control every thought? Yes. Work like this is very hard. It was easy for Jesus to do. You'll have to think about doing it until it comes naturally. It is possible, though. Frank tried to get back to normal the next day, but the clock kept showing 4:47 a.m., which was the number 47. Stop it! Frank finally yelled. I get it. He hadn't, though. Not really. Because admitting that he used numbers to make things happen meant acknowledging that he was responsible for everything that went wrong in his life. Not God. Not bad luck. Him. And that responsibility was too much to bear. Frank stayed away from the shed in the morning of the third day after the experiment. He tried not to think about what Jesus had taught about showing up. When he thought about the 40 years he wasted praying wrong, he tried not to. He said, "What if I had known this 30 years ago?" Once he knew what he was doing, he stopped, focusing on the past, about the loss, about trash. Of course, the creature said that was a command, a sign of even more loss. "Damn, Frank, I can feel how upset you are from here. Do you want to talk?" "No. I'm scared. I'm scared, of course. You're telling me I made all my own problems. What do I do to not be scared?" "Go to the shed. Before I leave, I have one more thing to show you." Frank wasn't sure. He took his time getting to the shed. The ship now had a soft glow, showing that it was working. All set to go. "Are you leaving?" "Yes. But first, you need to figure out why you're fighting." "I'm not resisting. You're scared of power because it comes with duty. It also means that you can't blame other people for your life." Frank's face heated up. "That's not fair." "That's right. I'll show you." The thing turned on the hologram. Frank is 25 years old and is fighting with his wife. Frank is being fired at age 35. Frank is 45 years old and is now living alone after his divorce. You blamed her for the breakup. You said your boss was to blame. You said that your bad health was caused by your genes. You blamed God for not being there to help. "Because it wasn't my fault," Frank yelled. "She did it. My boss was not fair." But the energetic frequency you sent out drew all of it to you. Years of telling myself, "I'm not good enough. I never get what I want. Everyone has left me." You told them to. And the facts proved it. Frank thought he felt something break. "So you think I deserved everything? I deserved to be lied to? You didn't deserve it, but you made it happen. What's the difference? Deserving means you should be punished. But no one told you off. You were just operating at a frequency of pain for so long that it became real. You don't have to follow the law of attraction to be good. It's just physics." Frank turned away. "This is awful. It hurts me to know it was me. That it was always me." "But Frank," the creature said in a softer voice, "if you made the pain, you can make the happiness. You can bring in gain if you brought in loss. You can use the power both ways." Frank was quiet and his shoulders were shaking. "You were a victim for 62 years. It's easy to be a victim because you don't have to change. There is no need for you to be responsible. That doesn't feel good. That's awful. But it's known. And what you know makes you feel safe, even if it's hurting you." Frank finally turned around, his eyes red. "How? How do I change? After all these years, how do I stop being a victim? One thought at a time. I feel one emotion at a time. Watch and pray," Jesus instructed. Watching means keeping an eye on your thoughts all the time. With a sense of certainty, praying entails decreeing your desired reality. Something long and thin put its hand on his shoulder. "You're not the only one going through this. It's ingrained in you and is reinforced by everyone telling you that you can't do anything and need external saviors. So how do some people succeed? Because they work on a frequency of abundance, whether they are aware of it or not. Give me a clear thing I can do. Tomorrow. When you wake up tomorrow, take 5 minutes to be thankful. Not because of what you have, but because of what you will have. Feel like you have it already. Great health. There is plenty of money. Enjoy the thrill and be thankful. What if I don't feel it? What if it seems fake? At first, It will feel fake. It's true that you can fake it till you make it, because your brain can't tell the difference between a real experience and a fantastic one. Your energy field changes if you feel the emotion. Frank gave a slow nod. For the rest of the day, pay attention to your thoughts. When you catch a bad one, you should stop and put it back. That sounds exhausting. Yes, for a few months. After that, it happens on its own. You will get there, just like Jesus did. When are you leaving? At dawn. Promise me you'll do your best. Frank took a big breath. I'll do my best. I could fail, but I promise to try my best. That's all I need. Frank didn't sleep much that night. It was very scary. On the other hand, it was freeing. Frank felt hope for the first time in decades. Not the passive hope, but the hope that doesn't sleep. I will make things better. That made everything different. Frank woke up at 5:47. That number again. I'm paying attention, he said with a smile. He stood up. He made coffee. He sat on the edge of the bed for 5 minutes of thanks. He shut his eyes. He took a deep breath and said, I'm in great health. What would it be like when you wake up without pain? He had that picture in his mind. It was small, but it was there, feeling warm in the chest and light. He kept going, having plenty of money, not having to worry about paying the bills. The feeling got stronger, having relationships and not being so alone. And Frank cried for the first time in years, but not because he was sad. He cried because he was full of hope. Something was different when he opened his eyes. It was like a door had opened just a bit. Frank went to the shed on foot. He had to see the thing one more time. He stopped when he opened the door, though. Things changed on the ship. In the light, there were shapes on the surface that seemed to change. You see things differently now, the voice from the other side said. How you see things has changed. The frequency you used went up. It was there all the time. It was just that you couldn't see it before. Frank reached out and touched the signs. As soon as his fingers touched, he saw something. Not with his eyes, but in his thoughts. He saw Jesus again, just like he was in Galilee. And Frank could hear ideas, not words. When 2 or more gather in my name, I am there. Frank knew what to do. It had nothing to do with church. It had to do with frequency. There is Christ consciousness between 2 people when they are on the same frequency of love and certainty. Let the dead bury their dead. People who were dead weren't really dead. They were stuck in low frequency, unable to see what was possible, and stuck in cycles of pain. The vision kept going. Jesus never learned to depend on others. Empowerment was his message. He never said that God was far away. He taught that God was inside. He never taught you that you were a sinner with no power. He taught you were a creator who had been forgotten. The vision was over. Frank took a step back. What was that? A download of information. Higher consciousness influences the ship. It gave you knowledge when you touched it in a higher state. But was it real? Tell me, did Jesus really say this? Yes, and a lot more. I feel like I've woken up from a 60-year dream. In a way, you have. Most people are programmed to believe they have no power, so they live in a trance, that they need authorities from outside. Jesus tried to wake them up. Yes, that's why they killed him. When people awaken, power doesn't like it. People who are awake don't blindly follow orders. They make their own reality. What did happen after he died? How did it become so messed up? The things they did turned his teachings about empowerment into a doctrine of sin and salvation from the outside. And the church used this lie to build an empire. Why? Why keep it secret? Because people who know their own power don't need middlemen. They don't give tithes. They don't just follow orders. The church would have lost its way. Frank could feel his anger rising. 60 years, believing I was powerless. How many lives were wasted? He said quietly. Getting angry doesn't help. It holds you back. Turn your anger into something useful. Now that you know the truth, people will notice when your life changes. They are going to ask. After that, you teach. What if no one believes me? That's not your business. That's not your job to do. It's up to you to live your truth. The thing went back to the ship. It put out its hand. There are 3 crystals. These are amplifiers. Take them with you when you meditate. They'll help you until your natural frequency goes up. Frank took the stones. How do I use them? Hold one, carry one, put one under your pillow. They'll help you keep up a high frequency. Will it really work? Frank, in 3 days you've manifested a certain number more than once and had a direct information download. Still have doubts? Frank took a look at the stones. No, I no longer doubt. Good. It's bad to doubt. Do not doubt in your heart, Jesus said, because doubt takes away intention. So how do I stop doubting? Based on evidence. Every little thing that happens makes your certainty stronger. So begin slowly. As more evidence comes in, doubt naturally goes away. The ship began to hum. Frank Morrison, you fixed my ship. Thank you for showing me the truth. You showed compassion. You are willing to change. The truth was there all along. You just had to be ready to see it. The thing got on the ship. The opening began to close. Wait! Will I see you again? Frank yelled. Are you going to come back? The voice from the other side came one last time. Frank, if you really understand what I taught you, you won't need me to come back. You'll be working at a frequency where you can directly access any knowledge, just like Jesus did. Hi, friend. Do not forget that thoughts create. Feelings get stronger. Certainty shows up. That's the answer. Be smart about it. The door shut. In the blink of an eye, the ship was gone. It rose up without making a sound. It stayed put. It just stopped being there. Frank stood alone in the shed with 3 glowing crystals in his hands, his mind filled with knowledge that had been kept secret for 2,000 years. He felt totally free for the very first time in his whole life. After 3 months, Frank Morrison was not the same person. Not on the outside, but deep down, something had changed. In the beginning, he had doubts. The crystals were there, though. True. He then began to practice. Every single day. 5 minutes in the morning. Being thankful. Keeping an eye on his thoughts. Catching the bad ones and replacing them. Nothing at first. Then, little things. Someone from work called. I thought of you out of the blue. I need someone who understands old engines, Frank agreed. The pay was good. Someone in the neighborhood asked for help. She talked about a spirituality study group. You should come sometime. Frank left. He wasn't by himself for the first time in years. The most important change happened inside. Frank stopped being upset. He did it not because he had to, but because he knew that every complaint was a command. That message said, "Give me more of this to complain about." He stopped paying attention to the bills. He began focusing on the money coming in. No longer did he see himself as a sick person. His back pain got better. His energy came back. In no time at all, it was a miracle. It was an ongoing, slow change. Today, 3 months later, Frank finally got it. Jesus did not come to start a religion. He had come to awaken people and remind them that they all have a divine spark inside them. That thought makes things happen. I and the Father are one. There was no blasphemy. The truth was told. You are not separate from the source. You are the source having an experience of itself. Do not ask anymore. Then you begin decreeing. Stop having doubts. You start to know. Stop waiting for salvation from outside sources. You begin to connect with your inner power. He looked at Pastor Williams. "Frank, I haven't seen you at church. Is everything okay?" Frank gave a smile of real peace. "Everything is great, Pastor. Better than ever. But you need a group. The Word of God is necessary." It wasn't like I stopped talking to God, Pastor. I stopped hiring someone else to handle that connection. Pastor Williams made a face. "What does that mean?" Frank took a deep breath. "In the past 60 years, I prayed and was faithful, Pastor. And nothing changed, because someone taught me I had no power and had to wait. That's how it works, Frank. By faith." "No, it's not. That's not what Jesus taught. It was said, 'You will do greater works.' His words were, 'The kingdom is within you.' He stated, 'Whatever you ask, believe that you have received it.' Active manifestation, not passive waiting, was what he taught. Frank, you are misinterpreting the scriptures. Or I'm interpreting them as Jesus meant them, before his message was distorted, before the church built an empire on guilt and dependence." Pastor Williams got red. "Be careful what you say. That's very close to blasphemy." "Or is it a truth that scares you?" he said in a soft voice. "Because people won't need institutions if they know how to use their own power. No longer will they give tithes to build things. They will be free. Frank, you need prayer. You need to go back to the path." Frank put a soft hand on the pastor's shoulder. "I am on the path for the first time in my life." Pastor Williams took a step back. "I will pray for your soul." He then left. Frank didn't feel angry or judged, just sadness for everyone who is still trapped. Frank sat on his porch that night. The 3 crystals were on the table, and he was very thankful for them. Thought makes things. Feelings get stronger. Certainty shows up. That was the answer. He fixed up an alien's ship. He got something back, a truth about Jesus that no church had ever taught. He would remember this truth for the rest of his life and use it to make the life he had always wanted, but never knew he could have. The journey of Frank Morrison shows us something. You have a lot more power than you know. A lot more. Jesus came to awaken the creative power that we all have inside us. Thoughts make things happen. Manifestation is boosted by emotion. Certainty turns the unknown into the inevitable. This is not an idea. It's the law everywhere. You can now make a choice. You can close this knowledge and go back to being a victim, which is more comfortable. Keep thinking that life just happens to you. You could also do what Frank did. Start paying attention to your thoughts. Feel thankful for what you haven't manifested yet, and work from a place of certainty instead of doubt. It is not going to be simple, but each small sign will make you more sure of what you believe. In fact, I'm writing a book about this awakening because I know a lot of you are ready to go deeper. A useful guide. Let us know in the comments if you're interested. So, here's my question. What are you going to do with this? Are you going to ignore it or give it a try? Post your answer in the comments. And if you want to hear more stories like this, stories that make you think about what you know and show you new options, subscribe to the channel and press the bell. because the secret truth has been found by more than just Frank Morrison. More knowledge has been buried. You have a right to know. Frank picked his own path, which led him directly to the source over the safety of old ways. If you think that the only way to get to God is through our own hearts and not through buildings or rules, say something like, "My faith is built on truth, not tradition." Each person on their own sacred path feels stronger when they hear your voice.